Hello everyone, I'm Melvin here. Today I'm covering a very specific question, which is on market failure. This is really to address a changing trend in the way market failure questions are set. In the past, okay, it used to be, say you are looking at an essay in part B. It used to be the case that students are given a certain form of market failure, okay, and they are required to propose policy solutions to address this problem. Okay, but the trend, as I mentioned, has been shifting a little. Recently, you probably see more questions where they give you a stipulated policy solution, and they ask you whether this is appropriate. Okay, and in doing so, you have to work backwards to establish the root causes, okay, of market failure. So it is important for students to know, as with the previous understanding, what policies are used to address a certain form of market failure. And if you can see across the different types of market failure, the moment someone throws you a policy, like if you talk about a subsidy, you should be able to see that this is used to address, okay, spillover benefits as well as equity. Okay, so this is what I mean by working backwards, right? So the discussion today will focus on, say, if a question asks you whether a certain good should be provided free of charge. Okay, now there are a few ways to look at free provision. Okay, the first thing is it could be free because it's provided free. Okay, free by the government. I should clarify here that government provision doesn't necessarily entail free provision, right? If you think about national hospitals and national schools, you still have to pay a fee, right? It's not free. So unless you're talking about the case of public goods, then yes, it's free and it's provided by the government, okay? The other context under which something could be free could be because you have a complete subsidy, which means you subsidize the good until it's at zero price, okay? Or it could only be free to certain people. Say if you're talking about the provision of a necessity like healthcare, maybe the subsidy only applies to your low income families. So free doesn't mean it's free for everyone. Okay, so with the boundaries or the parameters set up, whenever you're asked whether a good should be provided free of charge, you can think of number one, whether it's a public good. Okay, number two, whether the spillover benefits are big enough to justify a complete subsidy. Okay, and the third one, a good could be provided free of charge in the name of equity. Okay, so you're only subsidizing certain groups, the needy, okay, completely. And the fourth one, sometimes free provision is needed because MC is zero. Okay, MC here means marginal cost. So if marginal cost is zero, we know that for AE, P equals to MC equals to zero. Okay, in this case. So MC could be zero in cases like a public park. Okay, so if you go into a public park, the maybe the owner of the park doesn't have to incur additional costs, right? If you're just going in for a stroll and then you come out thereafter. So the cost of serving one more person or one more visitor is effectively zero. And since a park helps to promote, say, maybe a healthier lifestyle, there are some elements that make a park socially desirable. So in that case, the government may want to make it free of charge. Okay. And to summarize these points, okay, you can refer to my book where I have a page on the circumstances under which a good has to be provided free of charge. Okay. So usually we'll check whether it's a public good, and I can tell you in most cases it's not. Otherwise, your answer is very straightforward, right? So if you are asked whether healthcare should be provided free of charge, for example, we need to contextualize our understanding, okay, to say that healthcare is excludable, which means if you don't pay, you may be denied access to medical services, right? It's also rivalrous, okay? There are limited number of beds, so if a patient takes up one bed, there's one left bed for others, okay? It's also possible to consider whether the spillover benefit is very large, okay? If the spillover benefit is large, you may need a complete subsidy, okay? So I have a diagram here under page 62. this diagram here, let's see, shows a complete subsidy. Alright, so what happens here is that the size of the spillover benefits given by the vertical distance between MSB and MPB is what I've just circled. So if you subsidize this much, your MPC is going to shift downwards, okay, until they intersect on the x-axis, which gives rise to zero price. Okay, to show the effects of a complete subsidy, you have to make sure when you first draw your diagram, MPB touches the x-axis. Okay, so this is for a complete subsidy. And the third reason is in the name of equity. Okay, when you talk about equity, make sure you highlight that the nature of the good, okay, must be a necessity. If it's not a necessity, you may not need to consider providing this good, okay, to the less well-off consumers. So we have one reason, two reasons, three reasons. The fourth one is what I just explained, when MC is 0. Okay, but when MC is 0, take note, I can even say for a concert, okay, the MC of admitting one more person is very close to 0, alright? Because most of your cost is fixed in nature, like the cost of hiring the band or renting the event. But I don't think the government sees it necessary to interfere or intervene here, because the concert is very much a private good, and also I don't think it's something that's really deemed socially desirable. So when MC is 0, the government can choose not to intervene, okay, and usually they intervene when the good is deemed to be socially desirable, like a museum, public park, okay. So that's it, okay, the four reasons under which free provision may need to be provided. If you look at this, it's pretty much your essay structure already, alright? But spend more time on the second point, right? Your context is really, or your content is very much anchored on the second point, where you have to show your um, externality diagram and also show how a complete subsidy works. Okay, so that's all. And if you still have questions, okay, do feel free to visit my website. Okay, sorry, www.thateconstutor, okay, .com, or you can email me, okay, at gmail.com. You see a lot more videos here, so I encourage you to visit just to check out some of the videos for yourself. Okay, thank you.